Hey, welcome back to my channel. This is your Justice analyst, Kirill, and I'm happy to continue today with the reactions to the entries of the Junior Eurovision Song Contest 2024. And today it's time to talk about one of the most successful countries in the history of the Junior Eurovision Song Contest, and it's Georgia. Georgia was the second country after Belarus which managed to win the competition 2 times, in 2011 and then later in 2016. And so many times finished in just a step, 2 or maybe 3 behind the win, so in place 2, 3 or 4. And interestingly, almost all Georgian entries for the Junior Eurovision Song Contest have been written by the same composer, Giga Kukhianidze. Who has been also responsible for the entry of Georgia for the Adult Eurovision Song Contest 2023. And surprise, surprise, this year's Georgian entry, which will be performed by 11 years old Batumi-born Andria Putkaradze, has been also written by the same composer. And this year, the entry is called To My Mom. And let's just take a look at the lyrics. However, I think from the title of the song, it's already quite clear that it will be probably some sort of a ballad dedicated to his mom. The text of the song is not so straightforward, I think. However, it definitely shows us how Andria is appreciating his childhood time, the time he can spend with his mom, how he can play like a carefree child, how the sun is always shining, or even if it snows, it's still beautiful with a smile in his heart. So I think the song is trying to tell us how we should appreciate this time of a childhood, the time which we can spend with our parents, and in his case, especially with his mom. So he probably has a very tight bond with her. But now let's listen to the song. I would imagine it should be a ballad. So it's time for my first listen, where I will not stop the song, we'll give you just some short comments throughout the song, and then we will go into the more deep dive second listen. Our first real ballad of this year. If he would play piano, this would be really beautiful on stage. It definitely has very similar vibes as Georgian entry of 2016. This part actually sounds more like a Disney song. I'm sure he can sing perfectly the song live. It will be such a treat for our ears. I'm sure the juries will really love this one. Okay, so that's it. This was the first listen of the Georgian entry, and now let's sum it up. For me, this really sounds more like a male version of Museo from 2016, as I have already said before. And doesn't this boy remind you a bit of the Romanian entry for the Eurovision Song Contest 2004 for kids, which I believe was also dedicated to his mom? I definitely feel similarities to both of these entries. So kind of if you take Museo and then you take the Romanian artist from 2004 and add the same message as what he had, then you kind of get Georgia 2024. Well, it's of course an exaggeration, but still it's very interesting to see the similarities to these two quite successful Junior Eurovision Song Contest entries. But now let's listen to the whole song for the second time, and I will stop throughout the song to give my comments to particular parts of this entry. The beginning is very dramatic, so you kind of expect some really heartbreaking song, a bit like Romania 2004, but then in the chorus it changes to a bit more dreamy feel. So the song is going in a particular flow, which is quite predictable. And then suddenly, you know, the music stops and then this chorus hits. Very interesting idea, but I kind of like it. But it really feels almost like two different songs. Like, you know, one is a very dramatic, heartbreaking one, and then this very dreamy, Disney-like chorus, like all is good, all is perfect. So this gives me sort of a mixed feeling, so I'm not really sure what kind of emotion should I feel from this one. This was a very beautiful note. I think it will definitely grab attention of the juries. And the song is not an easy one to perform, so Andria has to really hold a lot of notes, has almost no time to breathe in, to breathe out, so this really requires quite some singing skills. In this song, I really feel like we don't need any kind of show, any additional people on stage. It should be just him alone on stage in the best way, really dark light, so that all the focus is just on the singer, and then this song will really shine. So is this a kind of an entry for me? Probably not really for my taste. For me, it sounds a little bit too theatrical, a bit too dramatic also in the verses. Not my cup of tea, but it really reminds me of Museo, which was the winner of 2016 and which was also not really my cup of tea either. So it doesn't mean that the song will be rated not so well. So now let's take a quick look at the Georgian history in the last 7 years. And you can see that Georgia is actually ranked 5th in the last 3 years and also 5th in the last 7 years, which is quite a good result. So they are definitely in the upper part of the countries taking part this year. But you can see that they always have either a very good result, like 3rd, 2nd, 4th, maybe 6th, but sometimes they really have rather the results on the lower scale. Which way can it go this year? I really don't know. It really very much depends on how Andria will be able to deliver this on stage. For example, Romanian entry in 2004 was maybe also not the most captivating song, but his super emotional live performance has really elevated it a lot, and he finished in top 5 or something like that. So I think we might see Georgia somewhere higher up there with the help of the juries. but I don't expect a top 3 finish this time. But what if we take a look at the detailed results from the online voting and the juries? What do you think? Who has supported Georgia more? Well, in this case, it is very obvious that this were the juries. So as you can see now on your screen, the juries in the last 7 years have ranked Georgia on average 3rd from the 16 entries taking part this year, or 4th in the last 3 years, just simply because of not so high finish in 2023. So you can see that on 5 of the 7 participations, Georgia was in their top 5. There were just 2 exceptions, 2023 and 2019, when it did not happen. But if we take a look at the online voting, then Georgia doesn't really seem so liked anymore, because if with the juries they were almost always in top 5, then in accordance with the Televote, they have never been higher than place 7. So that's definitely much lower result. We can see that they are more often in the lower part of the results. And for example, in 2022 and in 2020, I think this was absolutely mind-blowing when their entries, which were considered huge favorites, were ranked so low in the Televote. Georgian entry from the Junior Eurovision 2022 is actually one of my most favorite Junior Eurovision songs of all time. Seeing it finish in 2nd in the juries has already made me, let's say, a bit annoyed because I thought it was deserving the win, but then seeing it being ranked 12th out of 16 entries in the online voting was just something I could not explain at all. So based on these results, you can see that Georgia might have chosen a right representative this year, because Andria is definitely very much heavily targeting these juries. I think with the televoters, it's again one of the last places, or at least the second half. But when it comes to the jury voting, I think it might be again a top 5 finish for Georgia. I'm not sure that he can really win. It all really depends how vocally will be the favorites who have the strongest songs, because this song is definitely not the strongest in this lineup, but vocally he might be just the best. And now let's take a quick look at the Eurovision Scoreboard app to see how the Eurovision fans have liked this song. I would imagine probably not so much, because this is a really very much jury-oriented song, nothing what the Eurovision fans are craving for. And yeah, as you can see on your screen, place 15 out of 17 entries, which will most probably correlate with their real online voting result. I just can't see Georgia climbing into top 10 in the online vote this year. If we talk about staging, I think they should definitely go for this Romania 2004 vibe, where the staging is quite dark. There is a lot of close camera shots with the lead singer. The lead singer should also show all the emotion, even though the song might be a bit less dramatic than the Romanian one 2004. But I think this is something what no one of the other contestants, at least from whom I have heard till now, will bring. So this will really stand out, and I think they should go fully into this vibe. So that's what I have thought about the Georgian entry this year. Do you also think that he might do really well with the juries this year, or do you think he will repeat a fate of Georgian representative last year, where they were really underrated by the juries as well? Please let me know down below in the comments, like this video, subscribe if you want to see more Junior Eurovision Song Contest content on my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!